going on, guys? It's Robert here with the Back Satchel Hunters. I figured I would kind of do a little brief, review or discussion about a new piece of gear I'll be utilizing this year. I've only got about half of it here, but I'll be running a Stone Glacier pack this year. I decided to purchase it at the end of last season. I went with the Sky 5900 pack on the Stone Glacier X-curve frame. So stick with us here and we'll go into a little, more in-depth view of this puppy. Today I've actually just got the frame out here with me. I've been messing around with it, so I've got the bag off of it, but I guess as far as some other folks, maybe like I was back before I purchased it, you could find the pack everywhere, but you couldn't find any videos on the frame. It's been out for a few years now, but I guess I'm going to, since the frame is really what matters, because regardless if you're going with a 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 cubic inch pack, the frame is really where it all comes down to. What supports the weight, what you're going to feel on your hips, your shoulders, your back. That's where it all comes down to. And I'm pretty OCD. You can ask some of my friends probably. Those that are watching know me. They know I'm a little bit above and beyond when it comes to being finicky and picky. The smallest thing can make me spend a lot of money or a lot of time researching gear sometimes. And it took a lot for me to pull the trigger on this, honestly. I mean, because $350 or so for a frame, having $600 to $700 in a pack that you're going to use occasionally, for a lot of guys, it's not a big deal. For me, I don't know, I'm kind of stingy. I like to make it count. So anyways, some of the biggest things that bothered me on my previous pack were little pressure points between my neck, on the top of my trap, on my side of my rib cage where the straps would contact and bother me after 20, 30 miles at 50 or 60 pounds of weight. Also the way the waist belts were designed and the lack of the coating on the lumbar pad to help secure it. Little things like that after 3 or 4 days in the backcountry can really start to drive you crazy. I started having like little blisters on my side just from the straps. So when I started looking at the frame being the main component here, those are some things that really got my attention. It's the fact that, of course, these are straightforward pull waist belts on the Xcurve and a few other frames out there, but that makes a big difference in itself because it's naturally easier when you flip up and put your pack on to push forward to secure your waist belt. The thing that really stood out to me the most was the fact that rather than having a single belt that just came on around the waist belt, you actually had two separate straps here. Of course, reason for that, obviously, you can make it contour your hip better than just a generic, universal single strap. So what I myself have done, and I find myself doing every time I kind of fit this to me, is I tend to tighten the upper one slightly more where it will cant that inward and kind of cup on top of my hip. Of course, between that and the fact that the lumbar pad, of course, it is adjustable height-wise. I believe you can actually add or remove material if it's too thick or too thin. But it's also coated with a nice rubberized coating, which obviously helps it stick and kind of grip once you put it in position on your back. Between it and these cupping over my hips, I have yet to have this pack slide, of course, obviously with the bag on it. I've only got 20 or so miles, maybe 25 miles with this pack so far. However, I could tell right off the bat, huge difference. Just little things like that, of course. All packs are not created equal, I suppose. Another thing that stood out to me was pretty much all packs you can adjust your shoulder straps up and down, but the yoke on this being a bit more versatile, I guess, as far as adjustment goes. The fact that you could not just pop them loose and go up and down, but you could also cant the shoulder straps outward, because again, that was a big deal with mine, the Slumberjack, with them being straight. I would tend to get a spot here, and it may have just been the base layers and stuff I wore too, but where it would kind of wiggle itself back and forth, and after a few days that became very aggravating. But not just that, but and you may not even be able to see in the video, but how they're slightly canted outwards. Between that and also the way that this has got a bit more padding, it feels a lot better on my shoulders. But little things like that. So I guess again, going through things that stood out, the ability to cup and form fit the waist belt. Straightforward pulls were a biggie. It just makes it easier to tension it. But that lumbar in this, I mean, that's it's a frame, but those are obviously some major factors when it comes to choosing one. Of course, this one, a nice thing about it, I mean, we were out in Bozeman a couple months back, and of course I had to stop by Stone Glacier and just check out everything for myself. And one thing I noticed that they had done there, and I had heard about they had one of their load cell dry bags on the Xcurve frame in the load shelf, set up as, you know, just a minimalist pack. And when you get down to it, when you really think about it, if you're wanting to cut weight, as long as you've got a dry bag here, since if you're like me, most of your main camp items and hunting items for that matter are all in, I use Kafaru pullouts. So everything I've got is organized essentially. I have kill kit in one, you know, extra clothing, whatever in one. Of course, a dry bag for my sleeping quilt and stuff. But I mean, if all that stuff's in its own organized pouches, you know, it's not a bad idea, because the frame weighs hardly anything. I think this whole thing with the bag, the lid, and everything only weighs a hair over 5 pounds. So when you really factor in this probably weighing, you know, 2.5 to 3 pounds or so of it, this with the dry bag is awesome for a minimalist pack. Of course, you know, dry bags don't cost near as much as the bags do, with a few extra compression straps. So anyways, I had saw one of those in their showroom, thought that was pretty neat. But this, you know, of course, all the black material on their packs that has the little diamond shaped pieces is really just this blood-proof, waterproof, soak-proof material here. And that's what's also, of course, on this. And also the whole back liner of the pack that I've got. I'll do a separate review for that at some point once I get it back on here. But yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of neat, since again, you know, the frame is the main part that contacts your back, the part that really matters. Thought it'd be neat to kind of do a little, I don't know, a random talk, since I'm getting geared up, pumped up for the next season. Pardon all the road noise, I'm filming here at the house. But yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And of course, if you take your, obviously with the pack on here, when it's in bivy mode or any other, actually pretty much everything less than the most expanded point, it'll hook the load lifters to the pack. But with it set up like it is currently, I've got them hooked here to the frame. So it's, yeah, it's just this really, if you ordered the minimalist setup, you would get the Xcurve frame with a waist belt of your choosing, and just utilize this load shelf. Another little fun fact there, that load shelf is going to average somewhere around about, I think they say 2,500 cubic inches you can gain. So I took that into consideration as well, and the fact that my pack is around 5,900 cubic inches. You add this, I mean, you're on up there, you know, with way more than enough space. Of course, you would usually obviously use it for packing out meat, but as far as heading in, you know, have camp here, keep all your main stuff in the, you know, the main bag as far as your day pack stuff goes, I guess, or pack food in the load shelf, or stuff that's consumed. Obviously, once you get to camp, your pack will be compressed back against your frame. But either way, thought that was pretty neat. So there it is, the Stone Glacier X-curve frame. Of course, you can see the X as far as the carbon fiber and titanium shrouded stays, and of course, you might be able to see it's contoured there. You got kind of a nice curved shape to it, where obviously it fits the natural contour of your back, more anatomically correct, they say. But yeah, there it is. So this will be a new piece of gear for me here in the 2019 season. Stone Glacier X-curve frame with a 5900 Sky pack. And again, I'll be doing that review here in the near future. So stick with us, guys. Thanks for watching, and have fun out there.